Live from the 93.7 The Ticket Studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Lloyd Lincoln with former Syracuse Orange and Long Beach State basketball star Ramel Lloyd Sr. and current Nebraska basketball athlete Ramel Lloyd Jr. on 93.7 Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here are your hosts, Ramel Sr. and Ramel Jr.
Coming in hot on a Sunday. Oh, out of this one. We hope you are having a fantastic Sunday. It's gorgeous out. So hope you got something good planned, but a part of your day is going to be Lloyd's in London. We appreciate you hanging out with us on DP. We got Lloyd 1, Lloyd 2, father, son, senior, junior, baller, and baller. Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. If you want to be a part of what's going on, you want to send a shout out. Let them know you are here listening. Let them know you got something on your mind. If you had a question for them, some comment, lots to go through. The Starter Heyman live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter Live, and of course, Allo Channel 951. So if you want to hang out and see what's going on, meet everybody, this is the long game. This is a long journey. And they will take us through summer, all the prep, all the work behind the scenes, and they will do this by telling you who they are. First up, in order to get to the son, you have to honor the father. Let's bring on Ramel Lloyd Sr. We call him Rock. That will probably be the easiest way for you to identify that. Rock and Mel. That's we keep it Rock. Introduce yourself. Get in close there, brother. What's happening with you?
Good morning. Happy to be here, DP. So excited about the show. So excited about the Lloyd Lincoln project. We've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe over the last year or so, we try to get this thing going.
Right.
Now we're finally here. I'm Ramel Rock Lloyd. I need DP around me all the time to introduce me. I mean, he make me sound like I'm somebody much more than I am. But I appreciate love. So like DP said, you call me Rock on the show or whatever makes you happy. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. And kind sir, Ramel Jr. Introduce yourself, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, DP. Ramel Lloyd Jr., current Husker for basketball team. Happy to be here. Looking forward to getting this going.
This is a part of the universe, just keeping it 100. Like I jokingly, I sent your father a picture from 2005.
Yep.
And in the picture is a pro basketball team in California, and I'm sitting down, and right next to me, is your father.
Right next
to me. And I had coached against them and worked against them. This was our first chance to work together. And Rock and I are both creatures of the universe who say if you pay attention to the people around you, there's a reason they're around you. And years later,
Here we go.
We said, this is what we're going to do, and I'm thrilled about it. Rock, give the folks a little bit of your history for credential's sake and otherwise.
Okay.
You know the game. You're a child of the game. Let's go back. Where's home?
Home is what we call the Mecca of basketball. I'm from New York City. I'm proud to say that. Grew up in a time, the era in the 90s, where basketball in New York City was everything, which it still is. But I mean, the talent that we had around us during that time was unreal. So I grew up there. I played for New York City Gauchos, which is world famous AAU team. I went to Cardinal Hayes High School in the Bronx. I ended up being a high school American coming out of high school, top 10, top 15, top 20, whoever you want to ask. I was in a year, my class 96 was a great year with, of course, the RIP Kobe Bryant was in that class, Jermaine O'Neal, Tim Thomas, Rich Hamilton. I hate to even start naming because there's so many people. It was Mike Bibby was in that class. I can go on and on about who was in that class. So I was honored to be one of the best players in that class, actually. Ended up going to Syracuse my first year. We had the #1 recruiting class in the country. I was proud to be a part of that with myself, Jason Hart, Eton Thomas, Winfred Walton at the time, and LaShawn Howard. Then I headed out west. Some things went a certain way, and I headed out west to Long Beach State. Assistant coach, my assistant coach at Syracuse actually got the head coach job at Long Beach State, which flew me to go west, and I had never even been in California in my life. So it was a new beginning, a new start, and I played at Long Beach State. I ended up finishing there, top 5 scorer of all time in the school, and I only played 3 years. So anybody who's ahead of me in the scoring list, they all played 4 years. I just like to mention that sometime, because I want to mention that, right? Because these young boys is kind of catching to my record, but they've been there 4 years, so they don't really count. But no. So anyway, I played overseas. After that, had a great career, great journey. Got a chance to live in various countries. And then, as my kids begin to grow older, I had 3 kids. Ramel's our youngest, actually, and I have my 2 older daughters. Obviously being away from home for 9 months out of the year all the time was starting to just get a little strenuous on the family, and I wanted to be home. So I retired and came home. My kids actually started playing basketball. I started training. My daughter, she played Long Beach Poly 4 years. Let her woman, I guess you should say.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
4 years varsity level at one of the top schools in the country at the time. And then Ramel, of course, he started playing, and I started coaching and training. And my kids are Cali kids. So I always got to differentiate. No, I'm from New York.
Yeah, you're New York. They are Cali.
So now we got this Cali guy over here. So we're gonna hand that off to him. I ain't gonna talk about the California part.
So, but there's so many layers and textures to it, because to be sure, Husker fans, Hoop fans, there's zero way to ever have a full conversation with these two, because it's so textured that just in your intro, there are like 8 different ways that I wanted to go with it. Mel, let them know about you, and then we'll get into the particulars of who y'all both are. But let them know about you. You're a Cali kid. Where in Cali? Sierra Canyon. Let them know about your journey.
So for me, obviously, Pops came out to Long Beach State, so I was born and raised in Long Beach. Like he said, he started training me when he retired, and I got into basketball. He was my coach, which was a good thing and a bad thing.
We will get to that. Yes, we will.
So, that was cool or whatever sometimes, but he coached me all the way through middle school. So I got to high school, and my first year I played at a school called Calabasas in Calabasas.
Mm-hmm.
My second year I played at a school called Taft in Woodland Hills. And then finally I moved over to Sierra Canyon in Chatsworth, and that's where I finished out my career. So, at Sierra, it was a great time. Just being able, that was my best school in terms of level.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to play there at the end of my career in high school, when we get to play at those top level games and top level events, was perfect.
Top level events, games, teammates. You played in bigger arenas in high school than you're going to face in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the places you played at?
Well, we played in first and foremost, obviously, shout out LA. We played in the Lakers Staples Center.
Like just low key casual. Hey, my high school we play with the Lakers.
You got to say crypto now.
No, I got to say Staples.
He won't let it go.
See
how that goes?
I'm with you though, because the crypto will be gone in a couple of years. It'll still be Staples. That what's that like? I mean, your high school game. One, it's not the typical high school game because it's being watched all over the world, and you're playing in one of the premier arenas in the world. What was the high school experience like at Sierra Canyon?
It was different. I don't think you could really replicate it. I feel like it was one of a kind. It was his own thing. I don't think it'll ever happen again. There's the things that we did and things that we had to go through because of the popularity and just everything that we had going on with our team was unbelievable.
Talk about that roster for a little bit, because I know that if you ask Rock about it, he'll have one perspective. Mm-hmm. I want to know your perspective, because it helps measure you, it helps elevate you, and in some ways it could resist. If you don't handle it the right way, it could cause friction. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that roster and then what it all meant as a team trying to find your way in all of this.
Well, I mean, we had in my 2 years, we probably had about 12 to 13 4 or 5-star guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, the biggest thing for us was just trying to play together and share the ball and just find ways we can all get off, and just the main goal was supposed to be winning.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was the biggest just challenge for us, obviously, because we all came from different places where we were the man. And I came the place I came from, I was averaging 24 before I went to state camp. Right. So I come here, then I'm sharing the ball with another guy that's just like me, and it's, my average going down, this and that, but we're winning.
Yeah.
So just really sacrificing, obviously we had last year, my senior year, we had 2 McDonald's All-Americans, Kajani Wright at USC and Murray Bailey at UCLA. I started with those two, and then obviously Bronny James, who's going to Oregon this year, not Oregon, USC.
Yeah.
And who's a McDonald's All-American as well. So I mean, we were loaded, and we had younger guys on the team that are 5 stars and whatnot now. So
McDonald's just hanging out. Like the McDonald's, like, we just gonna give y'all the jersey. Wear these the rest of the year.
The whole team.
Right, the whole team. Just wear these jerseys for the rest of the year. I think that's a big part for Nebraska fans, is that as recruiting goes, they tend to ask the same questions from the same thinking and the same bubble. But I'm like, wait a minute, y'all are missing this. First of all, when you get that extra generation or generations, because you, being a New York baller, you carry generations with you into the world, and then you get generations of Jim Boeheim, and then you get generations of Cali ball, and then as a coach, you're in the space, so you're connected to, you're facing the best coaches, you know the best workouts, you're an elite evaluator of talent. For you, what's the line between baller, coach, dad? How do you handle that?
I don't know. Maybe you should ask Ramel that.
Well, that's because I'm going to ask him to follow up with whatever you say.
I'll give you my version.
Right.
I'm gonna get one too, though.
Yeah. I'm sure his would be a little different.
Yeah. There's a Harrison. There is 6 feet between them.
Yeah.
So you got to be ready with a quickness.
So it's weird to me because when Ramel when he was younger, it was all kind of one and the same. I actually started coaching and training and doing those things before he even decided to touch a basketball.
Right.
So where a lot of people don't understand is like, especially he was growing up, it's like, oh yeah, his dad is coaching. He's coaching them because blah, blah. No, I was doing this before this kid even thought about touching the basketball, right?
Yep.
So it was a natural thing for him to obviously come and play for me and train for me. In fact, I didn't even train him when he was young. I didn't allow it because I told him, I said he was, I don't know, was he about 5 years old when you came to me? Something like that. And he's like, Dad, can you train me? And I was like, no, I'm not, because it's going to be a problem between me and you because you don't know that side of me as a coach. You're not ready to handle that right now.
Like,
you know what I'm
at
saying?
5, he can't know the dog that you were. Like, I know the dog. Like, I know. Oh no. He don't know the
dog that I am.
But that's the common thread. That's the common thread, is that I see him and you. I see you and him. And it's funny to me because I saw you in college. I saw you as a pro. I saw you working. So I know how much it meant to you. Right. And there are looks on your face just when you post a workout video. There's a look on his face that you would have in practice that would let me know somebody was about to get it. Yeah. Like, so, and you didn't have to say it. It's just in your face. Yeah. So you can't. Your father was, people use, I think dog is overused.
Yeah, for sure.
It's overused because it's not what the dog is, that natural thing that happens in competition that embraces friction.
Yeah.
That knows that on the other side, we at friction now, this is where we separate.
Yeah.
This is where I'm about to chew you up. Enjoy being here with me right now because I'm about to do something that's going to separate us.
Sure.
And I see it in his face. But I can't imagine that he's ever. Do you ever play? Do you two ever just throw a ball out and play?
I got the answer to this.
No.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So we haven't seriously played in a long time.
Yeah. If
I recall the last time we played, I came out victorious.
I'm
not done. Rock, I will say this about Pops though.
Yeah.
obviously I'm young, a lot younger, and I'm a high level athlete, so he definitely can't mess with me anymore. But he's still very good to be an old man. Very good. Like he can still move. He's still got a little handle. If he gets hot, you're in trouble. But
oh yeah,
I'm not gonna let him get there. So
you finish? Are you finished?
all right, go ahead.
Okay, so I want to answer that question the right way. I have a job as a father to make sure that my son's confidence is at an extreme high, right? I don't have no more eligibility left, right? My career is over.
This is it.
We're trying to get him to some other levels here.
right.
So how would you feel if your 45-year-old out of shape dad, took care of business on the court with you? So, what I do, man, is I try to keep it light. I don't want to keep his confidence high. I don't like to play him anymore one-on-one. We may play horse and stuff. He still can't outshoot me. That's for sure.
I definitely can.
That was really that. Yeah. See, this is how I know we like that. Who's the better shooter?
Definitely me.
3-point ball. We line up 20 shots.
Right now, I'm a better shooter.
I see a video. Harrison, I see a video coming. I see a video coming real soon. 20 for 20. And here's the thing: we'll give him 2 weeks because I know with 2 weeks,
you
see,
he gonna miss some meals.
You didn't say
he gonna miss some meals.
Wait. We didn't say anything about any training or 2 weeks.
Right now.
Okay, if you put him in the gym and let him get a month of just shooting,
yeah,
he probably goes 20 out of 20. I'll give him. Right now, we just went to the gym.
Yeah,
I'm at a smooth 17 to 18. I give him 14.
Yeah,
and a victory.
Okay.
I take that.
Okay.
My thing, I think with Mel is I think my range is my range has always been deep, and I think that's where I could beat him at. I could take him 5-6 feet behind that.
Drag him in deep water.
And,
deep water.
Then we'll see from there. But that's another story for another day.
Right. But this is setting the table because I want people to know how amazing y'all are. I mean, real people. We say as coaches we shouldn't have favorites, but we do. And that's when some of our favorite people are our players.
Yeah, right.
And that's how I look at it is like, listen, this is family. So to have people know you and love you the way I know you and love you is the get down for me.
Yeah,
like that's the whole purpose behind it. You mentioned he still got the handles, right? So from the text line, Sanderson, you're going to love Sanderson. He'll be around for all your shows. That's just what he does. He says, let's get right to a DP. Can Junior play the point? And he laughed because he thinks he knows the answer. But I'm going to ask you that. Point guard, talk to me.
1,000%. I mean, I'm a basketball player. I feel like I could play the 1 through 3, but if you put the ball in my hands, I'll make plays. I can run a team. And basically, like I said, I make plays. I mean, I can score at 3 levels and I can facilitate. So that's what a point guard is to me. So I definitely could play point guard.
Pops, and he said, he tried to humble down, right? And I get that part. But just to give you a little bit of what this really is. So you're talking about a guy that played regular minutes at Syracuse. Then just for grins and giggles, averaged 18 points a game. Now, that's not easy to do if Harrison went down to the YMCA and took on the church league, him averaging 18 a game require some work, right? Mel, do you pay attention? Do you look at his film? Do you know what he did in that space? And then how much of his game is your game?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I grew up in the gyms with him, and guys that know him or play with him, all they would tell me about was how good he was and what he can do. And I got tired of it, honestly. I didn't like hearing about it. It was pretty annoying. But
that's the friction. But that's the dog that I'm talking about. But, uncomfortable about somebody else being at your level is really part of the dog.
But no, a lot of people have a lot of respect for my dad, and it's always been told to me growing up. So, I mean, I've watched the film. I mean, and yes, as when I was younger, he used to beat me. So I do know how good he is and how hard it is to guard him.
2 years ago. I'm going to add on to that point.
Please do.
Because that thing bothers me.
Mm-hmm. That's why you're here.
Go ahead.
I'm going to add on to that. So me as a basketball player, I was completely opposite. I was a scorer, complete scorer. I didn't care about passing to nobody. I wanted to make sure I got my 25, 20, 30, whatever it was, right? Of course, I wanted to win. That was what I was about. But how I contributed to the team was by my scoring. Ramel, game and how I taught him to play is more based on what I didn't do well opposed to what I did do well. Okay, that's what most people don't understand. If you have experience in this game, and I played at professional level, and I understand exactly what it takes to be successful at these levels. So for me, I know I'm 6'4"-ish, in that area. A good day out, 6'4" and a little quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I take the
take
quarter.
it. We take it.
I take the quarter.
Take it.
Ramel's 6'6". I didn't know he was going to be as tall as he was. He was always taller than everyone that he played with and his peers. But from day one, I made Ramel and taught him how to be a point guard first. He didn't even start scoring like that until he got older, right? We added that package to it because I knew for me as a teacher and for him what he had naturally, it would be easy for us to add on the scoring package.
Yeah.
We first talked about him guarding smaller point guards when he was young. We talked about him being a passer and facilitator. If you go back to some of his tapes in early years, Ramel would dominate games and have 7 points. Rebounds, steals, assists. At the point, he's the biggest guy on the floor. Now, I say that as he's gotten older, he's evolved his game to a little bit more of what I can do as well. And now I believe he's a perfect blend and mixture of the both of us, because I knew when I was playing, as I got older and became a professional, because I scored so well, when I didn't score as well, I sat on the bench. So if I had an off night, if I didn't drop my 20-25, coach was like, all right, we got to get somebody else in and do other things. Yeah. So because of that, Ramel has been bred to be able to affect the game in a winning way if he has 0 points or 25 points. And that's coming from the source.
Well, I mean, through all of it, like it showed up at Sierra Canyon. For anybody, you can literally go back and watch those tapes and look at the names, and you'll be familiar with them. And the first thing I noticed was there were times when you purposefully took over games for stretches defensively, being a distributor, and better than secret kept, cleaning the glass, like being able to get your own and go to work through that. How much of that is let me change the question. Why is that now in Lincoln, Nebraska, at the University of Nebraska for the Huskers? What is the thing that you will be allowed to do here that benefits you, suits you, highlights you?
I think just that. I mean, everything you just mentioned. The coaches look for me to do all those things, especially as a big guard. They look for me to rebound, they look for me to facilitate, look for me to score the ball and just be an all-around player. So, Coach Hoiberg is, he lets people be themselves and play their game. And if you're doing what you need to do when you're playing your game, he'll allow you to do that. So I feel like I can, whatever I'm doing well is what I will be doing on that floor.
That's a really good place to put a pin. We'll throw it to break. But when we come back, I want to stay right there, because you got to spend a year watching the highs, lows, the roller coaster ride that is Nebraska basketball under Hoiberg in the Big Ten Conference. And I think I have to remind people, sometimes the court is a classroom, and you got a year's master's class on how this thing's going to work. Ramel Sr., Ramel Jr., Lloyd's in Lincoln. We'll be right back. 937 The Ticket.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trip. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of Lake and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
If you're in Lincoln, Whately, the surrounding area, listen up. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. If you're in Lincoln, Waverly, or the surrounding area, contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different and not in a. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The captain for Sean Jackson.
Malachi Coleman's going to have an opportunity to play as a true freshman because he's dedicating himself right now. 700 balls. If Malachi Coleman is catching 700 balls, he's going to have to stick them for catches. Then he ain't going to miss much. And the kid is 6'5", 6'6", can jump. Malachi Coleman's taking it serious. He's getting bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. Do you think Malachi Coleman not in the playbook? You can catch 1,000,000 balls. If you don't know what you're doing, it ain't going to matter.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Warm weather calls for fun in the sun and in the pool. If a backyard pool is in your summer plans, make electrical safety your priority. Visit les.com/safety to keep your family safe.
The Ticket Water Cooler.
Keisei Tamanaga is returning to Nebraska. Just elevates the ceiling of what Nebraska basketball can be this upcoming year. This feels good. Nebraska basketball feels good going into
When you think of Keisei Tominagi, you think of three, right? And obviously he shot 40% from 3 points last season. Just a high waiting to happen with him. And I believe that his cuts off the ball on the offensive end and his ability to finish quickly, he just catches it and finishes it all in one motion. I think that's going to be extremely important for him.
93 Ticket and theticketfm.com. The Drive with AD and Raph.
Was this season a stepping stone or a stone in the shin?
Well, I think that it's a stepping stone, but unfortunately, I think the people that we're going to lose are going to be back in the same situation. I think again next year you're going to have to find a few hitters and you're going to have some pitching. So unfortunately, I think it's not a stepping stone.
You have to replace your first baseman, your second baseman, your shortstop, your center fielder, your Friday night starting pitcher, your Saturday night starting pitcher, 3 quality relievers, your backup third baseman, backup catcher, and backup infielder.
Weekdays from 8 to 10 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Turning my pain into purpose is pretty much what I have done to start this foundation.
In August 2020, after the death of George Floyd, Bridget Floyd and other family members established the George Floyd Memorial Foundation in support of the Black community.
It's going to take more than just us as a foundation. It's going to take the community, the world, to make a change.
Fight for racial justice for the Black community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
Welcome back to it. Lloyds in Lincoln and Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr., Harrison Arns making it happen. Thank you, Harrison, for doing what you do on a regular, consistent, high-level basis. Greatly appreciate it. Again, 402-464-5685 is the Starter Heyman text line. If you want to text in, you got questions, or if you're on YouTube and you got questions, if you're on Facebook, you got questions, go ahead and get them in. From the text line, the statement is this: every team has talent and practices hard. What does Nebraska do that sets up the 1% better? Thank you. And this is for Ramel Jr.
That's a really good question. I mean, I feel like most colleges all look for the same things in terms of what they do at a high level and consistency. But for us, I would just say it's our team camaraderie and just talking. You know, one of our biggest things that we focus on in practices are just talking and being together. So Coach Hoiberg is really big on togetherness and just us being in as like playing as one. So just being together and our cohesiveness as a team is probably our biggest thing.
The 1% is a Nebraska athletics thing, and I like the fact that co-opted narrative sometimes is actually good for it, right? That if you're just working on getting better every day. As I said in the last segment, you got to watch a full year. And the question over the redshirt year, should you have done it, that's a conversation you two will have later on in future episodes. What I want to know is what's the most prominent message that or lesson that you learned sitting at the bench, watching this team, practicing against this team? What did you learn?
Well, for me personally, definitely the biggest thing is to never take this game for granted. You know, being able to play my whole life and never had to really sit or never had significant injuries where I had to sit and wait. You know, just coming here and redshirt and watching everything every day for a whole year was very challenging for me. So just not taking it for granted. You know, I feel like through this year I've gained another love for basketball again, and it's like I feel like a 5-year-old kid again trying to pick up the ball for the first time. You know, just being back on the court and, you know, just not taking it for granted. You know, it's what I love to do and it's my life. So just knowing that, you know, realizing that again has been really big for me.
A shout out to Luke on the text line. Luke, great minds think alike. He literally asked the same question that I just asked. So Luke, shout out to you. Rock, this was interesting because in a world of 4- and 5-star basketball players from California, Nebraska isn't exactly the next off-ramp. Right. Like you had to travel a little bit to get to Lincoln. There's mentally, emotionally, game-wise or otherwise. Greatest question of the day so far. Why Lincoln? Why Nebraska?
I'll answer it from my standpoint of view. You know, I guess I can speak for a little bit because we always just handle our family affairs together. Obviously, Ramel has always had the final decision, but we always talk about things as a group. So, you know, we looked at college a little bit more strategic, probably than the average parent would. There were a bunch of things that came into play when you're talking about style of play for Ramel. You know, Fred played a lot more of a up-tempo game, especially for the Big Ten.
Yeah,
they slowed down. They paced a little bit last year, but still for the Big Ten, they played a little bit different style of pace, and we felt like there was a pace that that Ramel would succeed in. We've noticed that Fred has had bigger guards over the last couple of seasons, and they've been able to flourish here. And you know, I just saw Ramel in a place where he's from California. He's been around the big city, the big lights. You know, was at Sierra Canyon, where, you know, star-studded team, star-studded student body,
star fans,
star fans. You know, all of those things that help prepare for the next level. But we didn't necessarily, you know, need or want that going into college. If it happened, it happened. You know, but at the end of the day, a lot of people go to schools for the wrong reasons, right? It's almost like they pick schools based on their fanfare or how they grew up feeling about them or what the colors look like, or, you know, things of that nature. You know, and I'm guilty of it myself. You know, as much as I love Syracuse, when I went, they had just went to the championship and lost to Kentucky the year before I got there.
That's Lawrence Moulton in there, right?
No, Lawrence wasn't even there. There was John Wallace and Todd Bergen.
Oh, you had
yeah. So
okay.
Like Lawrence was already gone.
Yeah.
But they had just my senior in high school, they went to the championship and lost Kentucky. And I'm from New York. I grew up a Syracuse fan, and I almost, just because of how I felt about the school as a fan, I almost didn't even listen to what the other recruiters was telling me because I already was locked in to go into that school. So I wanted to make sure that my son didn't have that same approach, you know, just going to schools because of some of those things. We wanted to be somewhere where he had the best opportunity to succeed. That's on the court, that's relationship wise, that's school, that's living situations. And I haven't even touched on Lincoln as a city, because what most people don't understand is that, yes, you are an athlete and you're a student athlete, but you also have to live where you go to school at, right? So that's even more important. Are you comfortable with the environment? Are you comfortable with the people around you? Are you comfortable with the city? Because the basketball season, as we know, is just a certain amount of time, right? Even though the guys are very busy and they're in the gym a lot, but for the most part, you still have to live, you still have to eat, you still have to be in the community, you still have to drive around. So many factors went into why we chose Nebraska. Personally for us, and then also we just felt that the school, even though they haven't had the type of success that they probably wanted the last couple of years, you can see the change in the trend, and we wanted to be a part of rebuilding that. And Fred and the staff came in and they did a really good job of showing us how we can contribute, or how Ramel can contribute to building Nebraska. And we had the same vision for his career aligned with what was needed at Nebraska. So, I can go on and on about that. There's more.
Well, I mean, we're just
but
planting seeds for this whole season of shows, because there's so much to it. There's zero like there are elephants in the room that we'll get to over the course of the year. The thing for me is going through the recruiting process. Fans have some image in their head of what recruiting is like and why players choose the schools they choose.
They really do, and they normally off
way
track,
wrong,
way off track.
way wrong. The things that are important to the player, especially if you're from outside of Nebraska, if your game is tailored to different parts of what Nebraska does, and then the idea of playing for a certain coach, because all of those things are fluid and flexible. The only consistent in it is the player.
That's it.
That's the only consistent thing in it. And so, Mel, this is probably a little tougher than not. Why Nebraska? For you, why Nebraska?
Pretty much the same response as my dad. Just looking for a coach that believed in me and my game, and seen, had the same vision for me as I did. Coach Hoiberg is a great coach, and he's been at the highest level. He's played at the highest level. He's coached at the highest level. He's been a GM at the highest level, and that's where I want to get to. So I felt like Coach Hoiberg was just the perfect person to help me get there, and I just want to play for him. So that was pretty much it for me. Obviously, Lincoln's a great city. I've learned to love Lincoln. I never realized what a good city he would be when I was being recruited here until I got here on my visit, and I was looking around. I was like, wow, this is a great place. So, I mean, once I'd seen that and then just built relationships with the coaches and things like that, I just knew it would be the place for me. You
spoke of your vision for you. What is that?
Well, for me, I just want to be the best Ramel possible. I want to be able to go out there and play my game and do certain things that I've always dreamed of doing on the court, especially at this level. So my vision for me is being the best Ramel possible and going as high as I can with this game.
Rock, give me the coaches. Remove the name and give me the scouting report. Give me that Rock Lloyd eye on the talent. Who is Ramel Lloyd Jr. as a player?
As a player, like I always say this, and obviously my basketball background can help me validify some of the things I'm saying, but I'm still his dad. So it's always, it's always some kind of caution to speak about him a certain way. But if people know me, the people that know me know that I'm honest and I'm brutally honest. I don't care if he's my son or not. Like if he,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But you got something to say?
I was going to say, if I wasn't good, you would say I wasn't good.
I would say he sucks. I really would.
That may be the most true thing said today.
I would say.
Right, because we shoot from total honesty, and that's literally how we get in this space we're in.
I would say he sucks. And the thing I want to add about saying he sucks is, so what? Listen, sometimes as much as basketball has been a part of our life, in my life, and it's taken me places. I mean, I'm in love with basketball, and so is my son. It's still basketball, right? It's still a minute part of life. So sometimes when a kid, if he turned out to be something else that didn't play back, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
You know what I mean?
I really appreciate that. I really do. Thank you.
So that goes back to my point of letting you know that I will be honest in my assessments.
Right.
So, I mean, trust me, we had plenty of nights where we didn't speak for a couple of days after some of these games when he was growing up. Which probably ain't the right thing to do, but I was pissed.
You're right. Like this is what it's like. You weren't representing you.
Yeah,
like that's the thing.
Right. So anyway, to get to your question, like I always say that a lot of talented players, they're able to always do their thing on the court with in their own space without affecting the overall game. And I think Ramel's biggest attribute is that if he is playing well personally for himself, whether that's scoring, whether that's passing, defense, whatever it is, it's going to affect the winning. And he's always played that way. I always try to teach him to play the right way, even when he was young. When he was young, playing with guys that wasn't as good. When you kids, some kids are playing that's just for fun and whatever else. I always would make him make the right pass. I don't care if they fumbled it out of bounds or kicked it out.
Do the right.
He was taught to play the right way. Right? He's not going to force things and just try to get his off. Or he understands the flow of the game. He's very mature. And having a great feel is the word that everyone is using for this game. I think his feel for the game is at a very high level for a young player, and people will get to see that soon. People don't know what they don't know, but they'll see soon.
Yeah, there's so much of that. Yeah, right. Like that part. And this is when y'all need to be on the stream because the facial expressions in the room are like on 10. They're all on 10. There is an obvious, a loud, a profound love for the game of basketball in both of you. Rock, where does yours come from? Because it runs downhill and it lands on Ramel. But where does your love for the game come from?
My love for the game came from the influence of being growing up in New York City. Basically, when I was young, I really didn't play basketball. My first sport was baseball. I love baseball. I was a pitcher. Then I went into football before basketball. And then a cousin of mine, my older cousin, he started to play basketball. And my friends, who were always older than me, they started migrating to basketball. So I pretty much ain't have anybody to play with anymore. I ain't got baseball and football. Everybody's at the basketball court. Right. And I wasn't very good, but I wanted to be with my friends. So I started to go over to the basketball court, and then I found out that I actually had some natural talent. And then I, obviously start falling in love with it and becoming good. Anytime you feel like you're pretty decent at something, you start to invest more time and more energy in it. And I started to become pretty good. And basketball in New York City is everything, like the love that I get. I mean, I played a long time ago, obviously, in New York City, and the respect, the love, the admiration, because I'm from New York City playing basketball, it lasts forever. So, and then of course, as I got older, basketball has put me in forums that I would have never reached. I've lived in all over the world. The kind of feeling that you get when you're in an arena and you're playing in front of 10, 15, 20,000 people on the road, and everybody's going against you and you doing your thing. Like, there's nothing in life that duplicates that for me.
Right.
So that love, right, and that energy and that competitiveness, all of those things are embodied in why I love the game, And my son, fortunately, I had, I was young enough to have my kids where he was still able to catch the tail end of me playing, tail end of me being in gyms, and then even as I transitioned into coaching, he was able to naturally pick up that enthusiasm and love that I had for the game, and it turned out pretty good for the kid, I think.
I recall a couple of different pieces that are available online of you two talking about sitting and watching basketball together. What do you get from that now, Mel? What do you get from watching basketball with your dad?
Well, me and my dad, I mean, even without basketball, we're just very close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's something we both love, so it just brings us together even more. I think I'm a basketball genius. He thinks he's a basketball genius.
How about that?
So when we sit there and watch, we just kind of arguing about certain things or just giving our opinions on things. So I'm normally right. But that's pretty much what that is.
Yeah, whatever. Obviously, we don't watch the game as fans. That's my hardest part now. I don't watch it as a fan. I'm like always. He gets mad at me because I'm always analyzing stuff. I'm like, well, he should make that sub and that player should do that. He's like, bro, could you just watch the game?
Look,
especially when the Lakers are losing.
When LeBron is playing.
If LeBron is playing and they're losing and he's doing his coaching stuff, I get upset because I want to watch the game. My team's already losing and he's just talking and I don't like it.
This is why that's hilarious. That is hilarious. We'll throw it to break. We'll come back. Final segment. It's Ramel Sr., Ramel Jr. Lloyd and Lincoln here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us.
If you love to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music,
this is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right to make sure the right card. Check today. ftsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jackamick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jackamick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time helping our loved one.
AARP.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't let biased algorithms or degree screens or exclusive professional networks or stereotypes. Don't let anything keep you from discovering the half of the workforce who are stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time to tear the paper ceiling and see the stars beyond it. Find out how you can make stars part of your talent strategy at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Me dije que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se siente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/. Nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de y the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Foundation, the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 a.m, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit AARP.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lloyds in Lincoln with your hosts, Ramel Lloyd Sr. and Ramel Lloyd Jr.
Final segment. We'll go about 6 minutes, 5 minutes here. Again, Ramel Lloyd Sr., Ramel Lloyd Jr., 927 ticket. This will be every Sunday. 11 to noon. And before they head to Spain and get their off-season European workouts in, a little activity in town. Ramel Sr., if you let them know about the camp, please.
Yes, sir. I just want to, give a shout out to Boys and Girls Club of Lincoln Lancaster. Kim Goins over there doing a fantastic job. We partnered with them. We're going to do a junior NBA camp there, starting on June 12th through the 30th. It's going to be an amazing camp. It's going to be over at Northwest High School. And there's full scholarships available. It's just something we want to do for the kids here in Lincoln. We have free lunch every day. We want to feed them. In fact, we got some of our sponsors here that's going to jump in and help us out with food. We're going to have some great special guests. I ain't even going to tell you about the guests because y'all gonna lose. I wanted to be a surprise. But Ramel and a couple of his teammates, we're going to put this thing together nice. And we look forward to it. So check us out. You can register at www.lincolnbgc.org. All right, we'll be talking about it a little bit more later on, but I just want to give a shout out to the Boys and Girls Club and make sure you guys check that out. Lincoln Boys and Girls Club, LincolnBGC.org, not .com.org. And the camp runs daily. It starts June 12th. I can go ahead and say I'll be there for at least 3 of the days. As a matter of fact, June 12th, 9th through 7th, the ticket's going to be there. We're going to be there from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock. So we'll be there hyping it up. There'll be players, coaches, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. If you want to register for those in a position to, go ahead and register. It's $80 per young person. If you know somebody that wants to be at the camp but can't afford it, let us know. The scholarships we'll available. Take care of it. We're not turning anybody down. This is going to be available for every kid. Yep. Chance to meet Mel, meet the teammates, meet Rock, hang out, do your thing. All right. So over the course of this show, over the course of weeks and weeks and weeks, a lot of the conversation will be father-son. Mm-hmm. Father-son. So if I asked you both, give me a list of some father-sons that come to mind, especially in the world of basketball, that come to mind that belong in the conversation of the greatest father-son duos ever. Playing wise. So the father has to be a player as well. Father's a baller. Like immediately, Rick, Scooter, like the Berries. Yeah. The Currys come to mind. The Thompsons come to mind. I wonder who would be the best out on. That's hard to do. I got to think about that because there's a couple really, really good ones. The Nance. He got 2 in there. Right? What about the Grants? Grants, Grant. There's a lot, man. You can't put us on the spot. I don't know though. I gotta go. The Curry is probably the best. Well, because of Curry, or because of his dad as well. It's got to be a combination. The dad was a really good role player for a long time. I mean, and then Curry's obviously 16 years. Crazy. No, Del Curry was. And Del was he was legit. He was legit for sure. I mean, I think he still has Charlotte's shooting record. Del was it for sure. So definitely. But are there a combination where both players were superstars? Well, I mean, that's the conversation. You have to figure out. Anytime you have these debates, you have to determine in advance what the parameters are. Right. Like what priority is it? The Hardaways are pretty good. Yeah, Tim Hardaway and Tim Hardaway Jr. And then I'm gonna throw this lob up here. 10 years from now, we having this conversation about James. We hope so. Right. I mean, right. Yeah, we hope so. Right? We hope that's the case. And is it unfair to put that on him? Yeah, of course. I mean, right? Like that's a lot to put on him. Of course it is. I mean, LeBron is one of the best players that ever touched the ball. So yeah. The list. I mean, this brotherhood thing matters, and we're old enough where the next generation has been passed along, and it happens with the fathers and now the daughters were born. Absolutely. So get about the daughters. We'll have that combination again. Mel Senior, Mel Junior. Bravo. Well done. Welcome to the family. It's good to have you here. So happy to be here. Yeah, we'll do it again next Sunday, 11 o'clock to 12 noon. Spread the word. Spread the word. And remember, Boys and Girls Club Junior NBA Camp starts June 12th at Lincoln Northwest. Go and find it online. I'm DP
for the crew. Harrison, thank you, kind sir. We'll throw up the fingers. 2 fingers. Deuces.
Peace.